What a powerful and poignant morning. And it's been a morning where life imitates art. We hear from the prophet Isaiah about a great light that shines. And then we see in real life lights that shine. We see Ari and Zoe talking about light that shines, being light that shines. We see Beth and Adam, our radiant and beautiful bride and groom, and Jon and Cindy, and Marlene and Errol, may he rest in peace. All the light that shines. And it's so wonderful when we have this kind of simcha. And it's so wonderful when we have this kind of joy. But I had a really interesting conversation a few weeks ago with a good friend, somebody I've known for 40 years. We were at a wedding. We're at the wedding, it was after the chuppah, before the dinner celebration. We're sharing a scotch. And he asked a question that I didn't know the answer to. And he asked a question that I've been thinking about ever since. It was about a particular aspect of the human condition. He said, I have so much light in my life. I have so much joy. I have so many blessings. And I know what to do with those. But I also have, we're both in our 60s, I also have so much sorrow in my life. I just walk around with a lot of sorrow. I walk around with problems that don't have a solution. I walk around with pain and I can't make it go away. Go to sleep with it. I wake up with it. Pain that just is and must be borne. I have people in my life that I love, and they have problems that I cannot solve for them. I can't make their pain go away. I love them, but I cannot make their pain go away. So he said to me, I know what to do with the light. I know what to do with the joy. But what am I supposed to do with all the sorrow that I also carry? And I've been marinating on that question. What are we supposed to do with all the sorrows that we all carry, in addition to the light that we love to have? And is there a best demonstrated practice of what to do with all the sorrows that we all carry? And that question was rattling around in my head when I read a fabulous book by David Brooks called How to Know a Person. And the central claim of David Brooks's book is that knowing somebody deeply, seeing them deeply, being seen deeply by them, these are skills that we can get better at if we're intentional about getting better at them. And one of the skills that David Brooks writes about is called life stories. That is, seeing our life not just as a random series of events that happen to us, and not just worrying about the issues of the day, our screen that pings and rings and buzzes, and we're just trying to get through the day. But can we step back and look at our life and see a dramatic arc to our life? And can we see that we are engaged in a noble struggle that has a redemptive purpose? And he tells the story of a guy named Dan McAdams, who is a professor at Northwestern, whose academic expertise is in helping people construct personal life stories. And here's what Dan McAdams does. He invites research subjects to come to Northwestern, and he pays them a research fee for 4 hours of the time. And then he asks them stories that are designed to elicit their life stories. He asks them, what's the lowest point of your life? What's the hardest thing that ever happened to you? What's the best thing that ever happened to you? What are the turning points in your life? And Dan McAdams relates to something really interesting happens. First of all, half the research subjects who start talking about their life story start crying in actual time. that when they tell their life story and when they talk about the hardest parts, there's real conviction and real emotion and real feeling and real tears. And then he says that when it's over, research subjects feel elated that somebody actually cared about their life story, that somebody asked about their life story, and that somebody listened to it. And they say, no one ever did that before. No one before ever asked us, and we never even thought about our life as a life story. And then a lot of these research subjects give the money back, the research fee. They say, what you gave us was priceless. We don't want money. Now, David Brooks tells this, and he invites his readers to think about our own high points, our own lowest points, and our own turning points. And then in that context, he shares a teaching from a Danish writer named Isaac Dinesen, who says as follows: all sorrows can be borne if we put them into a story. All sorrows can be borne if we put them into a story. And then I thought about my friend's question. What am I supposed to do with my sorrows? And I think Isaac Dinesen has a helpful insight. If we put our sorrows into a story, it makes them bearable because they become part of a larger life story that has a redemptive purpose. We see that in our reading today. The farmer of ancient Israel brings his first fruits, and he tells the story, the life story of the Jewish people. My father was a wandering Aramaean. We went to Egypt. There we became a populous nation, and then the Egyptians oppressed us, and we suffered, and we were slaves, and we called out to God, and God heard our plea, and God took us out of Egypt and brought us to this land of Israel. And I am a farmer in this land of Israel, and here's first fruits. And so it has low points, slavery. It has high points, the Exodus. It has transition points, now I'm in Israel. And it has a redemptive purpose. 430 years of slavery. That can be borne because as a result of that, now we're supposed to have compassion for people who are oppressed. And because of that, we realize how fragile life is. We're extremely grateful for every day that we have. I think this connects with all of us, because who among us does not walk around with sorrows? And who among us does not have problems that we can't solve? And who among us doesn't have loved ones who have problems that we cannot make go away? And the question is, how can we put that sorrow into a life story that is powerful, inspirational, and will bring out our best? And the world saw a dramatic example, like a historic example, an epic example of this Thursday night, Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is a baseball player from Japan. He was born with a preternatural talent for pitching. He was a pitcher for the California Angels, and he was the pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And he was a great young pitcher. And all of the statistics that baseball nerds like earned run average and strikeouts and opponents' batting average, showed that he was just on a trajectory to be a world-famous, legendary pitcher. And then, alas, what happened to Shohei Ohtani happens to a lot of pitchers. He had a bad injury in his pitching arm, and he had to have the dreaded Tommy John surgery. And now he could no longer pitch. Now, imagine that you have a gift. You have a gift that makes you you. You have the thing that you do. You have the thing that you do that brings a smile to your soul. You have the thing that you do that makes you feel good about yourself. You have the thing that you do that you're known for doing, and then one day you cannot do what you do. What happens when you can no longer do what you do? And what happens when you lose your gift? Well, Ohtani does not make his story that I used to be a pitcher and I got injured and I can't pitch anymore. Otani comes up with a different story. I used to be a pitcher. I can't pitch because I had Tommy John surgery, and now I'm going to focus on shining in other ways. And on Thursday night, he became the first player in Major League Baseball history to get 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in the same season. Major League Baseball is over 100 years old, and he is the first player that has ever done this, the 50-50 club. And he did it in such a dramatic way. He was up at the plate 6 times. He had 6 hits. 3 of them were home runs. 2 were doubles. He drove in 10 runs, 10 RBIs. He stole 2 bases. He himself personally scored 4 runs. That's an exclamation mark. And it's an exclamation mark on the statement that my life is not what happened to me. My life is what I did about it. It's an exclamation mark that my story is not, I used to pitch and I can't pitch anymore. The story is, I found new ways to shine. All of us have these sorrows that we carry. We don't want them. We didn't ask for them. We don't deserve them, but they're here. And our homework, especially as Rosh Hashanah approaches, how do we put them into a story that will become a powerful redemption story? Shabbat Shalom.